Hi everyone, I just want to remind you about a nice little feature within Infinite Campus that allows you to find tutorials for pretty much anything you might want to learn how to do within Infinite Campus. And it's baked right in, that's the nice thing. So if we come over in the green bar here to our App Switcher waffle, and click on that. This is usually where you switch back and forth between Campus Instruction, Campus Tools, which I'm currently in, and Campus Instructions that the teachers use. But there's also another little feature over here called Campus Community, and this is where you're going to find all those tutorials that will teach you step by step how to do anything you want to learn how to do. So let's go ahead and click on Campus Community. And when it arrives here, you'll see that I just popped right into it and did not have to log in. That's because I've been here before. If you have not ever visited Campus Community before, it's going to ask you to create a username and password that is specific to Campus Community. However, if you access Campus Community in the future through Infinite Campus the way I just did using the App Switcher in Infinite Campus, you won't be asked again for your username and password for Campus Community. However, if you ever try to access Campus Community outside of Infinite Campus, you will still need to know your username and password. So it's a good idea to record that somewhere where you can find it. So, about finding those tutorials. Although there's lots of different areas you can explore, today I want to focus on the knowledge base and specifically product information. So this is how you get to those tutorials. Knowledge base, product information. Go ahead and click on product information. And here it brings us up to, obviously front and center is the search field. And that's one way where you can find various tutorials. So you could do a search. Let's say I want to learn more about what I can do with my class roster. So I'll put in roster as my search field and click search. And it's going to bring up all the tutorials that there are on roster in general. So from anybody's role, whether you are an administrator or you are a school secretary or a principal or a classroom teacher, anything that has to do with class rosters. So it may or may not be what you're looking for. So it pays to be somewhat specific. Before I go on about ways to be specific, I just want to call your attention to these icons here that appear next to each one of these tutorials. They coincide with the content type key over here. So for example, this roster copy is a documentation, which is really an in-depth, step-by-step version that you read with screenshots. So you could follow along that documentation and kind of do a step-by-step figure out how to use it. As opposed to curriculum, which also says it's step-by-step, but that is a less in-depth and that's more of an overview of something specific. The documentation takes you a little more in-depth. Likewise, the simulation versus the hands-on virtual lab, simulation is going to let you do. You are going to be a hands-on learner where it will simulate what it is you're trying to learn how to do. So it will tell you this is what you do, and then you'll go ahead and click on it or enter the information into search and step by step follow along in the process. Versus the hands-on virtual lab is going to be a lot more in-depth, and instead of taking you step by step through one little process, say adding an address to a person in Infinite Campus, hands-on virtual lab is going to be a much longer process. So for example, it might be how to add a person altogether in Infinite Campus, which is a multi-step process. So same thing, it's going to be step-by-step hands-on. It's just going to be a longer process and more in-depth than the simulation is. And then of course there's video, which is exactly what you think it is, which is exactly what you're watching right now, an instructional video that kind of shows you step by step so you can kind of watch it and then do yourself, maybe pause it, replay, whatever you need to do. So those are the types of tutorials you are going to find. And as I scroll down here, you can see some of these are state specific, most of them are not. You can see that with my general roster search, this is page 1 of 155. So instead of kind of scrolling through 155 pages, let's try to narrow down our search a little bit. So if I add the word class roster in front of it, maybe that will narrow it down a little bit. But I can also add content types. So for example, the content types that I just explained to you over here, you can select the type. Say I want to do a simulation and I also want video. So now it's only going to look for class roster topics that are simulation and video. You'll notice you also have the campus version. If you're looking for something in a previous version, you will most likely never have to worry about that because we are on an Infinite Campus channel that automatically updates Infinite Campus for us once a month. So we are always on the latest version. If you're ever concerned about what version we're on, you can see what version we're on in the login screen. So when you first open Infinite Campus, before you put in your username and password, the version number appears over on the right. So that's how you can verify what version you're on if you need to. Chances are you probably won't need to. So now that we've narrowed down our search, let's go ahead and see what that does for us. Okay, we can see that everything that is coming up is either a video or a simulation, so we can be kind of hands-on with it. And you'll notice now it narrowed it down quite a bit. So now we only have 39 pages to look for. But there's another way that you can narrow your search down even further, and that's by using the column here at the left. The column here at the left mimics what you see when you are actually in Infinite Campus. Now let me just preface this by saying what you see at the left is the way that you look for things on the left column is going to depend on whether you're a teacher or not a teacher. Just like in Infinite Campus, let me switch back over to Infinite Campus. If you're not a teacher, you tend to see this index. And if you're a teacher, you use Campus Instruction and you see a different index, okay? That is how this column in the left is laid out. So everything I see here is what I would see if I was not a teacher. So here's, the student information and census and behavior and health and attendance. If I were a teacher, I would click on this campus instruction and expand that. And now this is what teachers typically see. The planner and the grade book and attendance and roster and the reports, everything you ever might want to know about reports. Okay, so that's how you're going to search for things. Again, not a teacher, you're going to look below the campus instruction. You're going to look through all of these, and if you are a teacher, you're going to look within campus instruction. So for example, say I'm a teacher and I wanted to learn about sending a grades message. I want to be able to send a message, an automatic message to my parents and students, reminding them, letting them know, you got a too low a grade on something. So I'll click on the grades message. Now you can see 9 results. So clearly we have really filtered our search, and now we are pretty sure this is exactly what we're looking for. So again, we have all of our different types of tutorials, and then you can kind of go through these and decide which one is exactly what you want to do. Send a grades message to students and guardians. So if we click on that, that's what the documentation looks like. It's going to give you the path where you find that in Infinite Campus. It's going to give you step-by-step instructions. You can link on each of these, and it's going to give you screenshots and links to the next instructions. And I can simply close this window to go back to the knowledge base, or we could do a video, or we could do a curriculum, or you get the idea. So this is the best way to learn how to do something new in Infinite Campus, and I certainly hope it helps you.